8th grade lesson 7.3 is equations with the distributive property. These look way more monstrous than they really are, as long as you recall to take things bite by bite, little by little, not try and do everything at once. Sort of like cleaning a room. You don't go, trying to pick up everything at the exact same time. You start on one side and you move to the next. So let's go ahead and have a look at what this looks like. Okay, so on this we want to solve for x and find out what x is. And I know this looks a little overwhelming, but you have all the tools in place. We just need to reach in for several different tools out of our toolbox. And what we want to do is use the distributive property. Remember, if I have this number sitting outside of these parentheses with no operation sign in between, then we assume multiply. So this is being multiplied times whatever's inside of here. Well, x minus 5, you know that order of operations says parentheses have to go first. It's just that I can't right now, right? Because I don't know what x is. I can't do x minus 5. So instead, I'll use a distributive property and I'll multiply 3 times everything inside of the parentheses, and that will help me eliminate that parentheses out of there. So that is my first step, is to use the distributive property to multiply these through. One cleaning thing at a time, right? 3 times x is 3x. And start looking at this plus or minus as the positive or negative. I have a positive 3 being multiplied times a negative 5, which is going to give me a negative 15. Everything else stays the same. I haven't done anything with that side of the room yet, okay? Or I haven't bit into that side of the waffle yet. Whatever analogy works for you. All right, so these, here's where I'm at now. I notice on this side of the equation, I didn't mean to put that mark there. I notice on this side of the equation, here's my equation, I have two like terms. So before I start moving things to opposite sides of the equation, I'm going to go ahead and marry those two like terms. A negative 15 put together with a positive 1 is going to give me a negative 14. If I owe $15 but I have 1 to pay, I'm still going to owe $14. Everything else stays the same. Now I'm where I had left off, the same skill I learned in lesson 7.1. I'm moving the variables to be on the same side. I have 3x's over here and 1x here. I'm going to go ahead and do the opposite of this positive 1x to both sides of the equation. That's going to give me 2x over here. Nothing done with the negative 14. And that leaves me with 2 on this side because that canceled that out. Now I'm doing inverse operations to isolate my variable on his own side of the equation. So first of all, I'm going to get rid of this negative 14. Opposite of negative 14 is positive 14. I do that to both sides of the equation. I have to be fair and keep it balanced. That's going to cancel out. And that's going to leave me with 2x equals 2 plus 14 is 16. And finally, my last inverse operation to isolate the variable. X is being multiplied by 2. The inverse of multiply by 2 is divide by 2. It cancels out. And 16 divided by 2 is 8. X equals 8. So a lot of this stuff from about here down is the stuff you did in lesson 7.1. From starting up here is the stuff that you have done for a while, the last couple of years. Just go ahead and use your distributive property, marry like terms. You learned that last year. So we're just piecing together a lot of puzzle pieces. Okay, let's look at another one. Here I have a positive 5 and a negative 7k, or 5 minus 7k. A negative 4 being multiplied by everything inside of here, and then minus 3. So start with our first step, one bite at a time, one step at a time. Let's distribute this. A negative 4 times k is going to be negative 4k. And a negative 4 times a positive 1 is going to be a negative 4. Everything else stays the same as it was. We haven't done anything with that yet. Now take a look. What have we got next? Well, I see like terms over here on the same side of the equal sign. So let's simplify that and put them together. If I owed 4 and then I owed 3 more, I'm going to owe 7. And then everything else just stays the same. I haven't done anything with those. So just bring them down. I help myself keep organized by just keep bringing it down. I did one thing, I bring everything else down. I do one thing, I bring everything else down. So I don't get lost in it, because there's so many steps. You're going to get lost in it. So be careful. Now I'm looking at a constant, and then with my variable coefficient and his variable. Same here. So there's no like terms on the same side of the equal sign. So now I'm going to manipulate my variables to be on one side of the equation. This is a -4, opposite would be +4. This is a -7, opposite would be +7, and I really try to keep things positive. You could have gone either way. You could have done either way and you'd be fine. I just prefer to keep things positive when I can. So I'm going to do +7k to both sides. That's going to give me, so I owed $4 and I have 7. I'm still going to have money left. I'm going to have 3k's. Now I'm positive. I didn't do anything with that -7. I'm just going to bring it down. I didn't do anything with that 5. I'm just going to bring it down. And now I'm isolating, or I'm doing inverse operations to isolate the variable. I'm going to start by pulling this -7 away. Opposite or inverse of -7 is +7 to both sides. That cancels. And I end up with 12 over here. I haven't done anything with 3k yet. Now I'm still isolating, inverse operation to isolate the variable. K is being multiplied by 3, so I divide by 3. I have to do that to both sides of the equation. And that's going to give me 12 divided by 3, which is 4. Okay, adventurers, pause the video and try this one on your own and see what you get. Those who are still unsure about how to do this, I'll walk you through. And then once the adventurers come back in, they'll check their answers with mine. All right, I'm looking across here. I need to do my distributive property. Remember to keep in mind this is a -9. The minus sign ends up making that negative. So we're going to make that -9 times y is going to give me -9y. And -9 times a +2 is going to be a -18. And then just bring down everything else that you didn't do. All right, take a look. What can we do next to clean this up? Well, I notice on the same side of the equal sign, there is a constant and a constant. These are numbers without a variable. I can marry those like terms to simplify things a little bit. I have 3 positive. I owe 18. So that means I'm just going to owe 15 now. So I'm putting together these two like terms, and that's going to give me a -15. Bring down everything else I didn't do. I haven't done anything with that -9y, and I didn't do anything with this y minus 5. Now everything is cleaned up as clean as it can be on their own sides of the equal sign. So now I'm moving the y's around so I have the variable on its own side of the equal sign. This is a -9y. I'm going to do a +9y to both sides. I have 1y and 9y is 10y. I didn't do anything with the -5, and I didn't do anything with a -15. These just canceled each other out. Now I'm just isolating my variable by using inverse operations. We'll start with the opposite of this -5 to get him out of the way. That's +5, as long as I do the same to both sides of the equation. That's going to leave me here with 10y on this side. And over here, I have, I owed $15. I had 5 in my pocket, so I still owe 10. Last but not least, y is being multiplied by 10, so we will undo that, or inverse operation, and divide by 10 to both sides of the equation. That leaves me with y equals 10 divided by 10 is 1, and that was a -10 divided by 10, so it's a -1. Hey adventurers, did you get -1? If you did, great job. If you didn't, that's okay. Find out where your mistake was made. Good job. Okay, so what if there's fractions involved on this? What can I do instead? Can I use that trick that we learned in this lesson 7.2? And yeah, you can. Now, just keep in mind, though, that these will eventually be multiplied by the number I'm multiplying the whole thing by. So I really, if I'm going to use a 4 to multiply by this to eliminate my fraction, I'm only doing it to this one and this one because eventually I will distribute those in and they will get multiplied by that. So I really only need to take care of these two. This is 3/4, so I want to multiply by 4 to that, and times 4 to that. And then the rest of it will get multiplied in when I distribute in. So this, of course, is going to leave me with 3. I don't do it to that. And this is going to leave me with -8. Okay, now my fraction is gone. Ta-da! math magic going on there. And now I'll be multiplying in with my distributive property. That's why we didn't do that before. It was going to happen to it. This is going to be 3x. And 3 times negative 13 is negative 39. Negative 8 times 9 is going to give me a negative 72. And negative 8 times x is going to give me a negative 8x. All right. This is starting to look very, very familiar. Now I'm going to do, get my x's on the same side. I'm looking at my x's here, and this is a positive 3. This is a negative 8. Inverse would be positive 8. That's going to keep things nice and positive, so I'm going there. Positive 8x and a positive 8x to the other side of the equation. That cancels out and gives, over here I get 8, 9, 10, 11x. Bring down everything you didn't do, so it's ready for the next thing, so your brain can sort out what needs to happen next. Now I'm just isolating my variable by doing inverse operations. Opposite of negative 39, positive 39 to both sides of the equation. That leaves me with 11x over here. Over here, that's going to be, I owed 72. I paid 39. I have 39 and I paid it. So I'm owing less, but I'm still owing, right? And I just have to find the difference between them. That's going to be 34. So I owe $34. Nope, that's not right. I owe $33. If somebody could subtract. Mrs. Sanchez. All right, then inverse operation to isolate the variable. X is being multiplied by 11. Inverse operation is divide by 11. Divide by 11. X equals negative 33 divided by 11 is 3. All right, adventurers, this is your time. Pause it and try it. And those who are still needing me to walk you through, here we go. I have this 1/3 I want to be rid of. So I'm going to multiply it by 3. I have to multiply this one and this one by 3. Eventually, when I distribute in, the 3 will come into all of them. But for now, I just need to do these. So this will be times 3. And this will be times 3. Because when we do 3 over 1 times 1 over 3, cross reduce. And then you're going to get 1 over 1, which is 1. So over here, I'm going to get negative 12. These don't change at all yet. Over here, I ended up with 1. So really, I'm just looking at this now. Okay. Now I will distribute this in. I'm going to get negative 12 times 5, which is positive 60. And negative 12 times 6, which is positive, oh, that's not a 6. Oopsie. That's a b. That's why I don't like to use b as my variable. Is a positive 12b. Good thing I caught that. And I have over here b plus 16 was all that I had, because I was just going to distribute 1 in there, and that's fine. Okay. Let's go ahead and do inverse operations. I'm going to take this 1b away from this side, and I will still have this 60. This will be 11b. That cancels and leaves me with 16. My variable is here now, the b, not a 6, the b. I'm going to pull this positive 60 away from there. Opposite on both sides. Leaves me with 11b. This is positive 16. So I have $16. I have to pay 60. I still owe money, but it's less than it was before. I'll just subtract find the difference, and that's going to be 44. Inverse operation to isolate the variable b, not 6. And it's at negative 44 divided by 11 is negative 4. Adventurers, did we get that? If not, what did we do wrong? And either way, I am proud of you. Good job. All right, and then we are faced with a real world situation. And I want you guys to know that I don't know right away when I look at these what to do. I don't automatically get an equation in my head. I have to go through the steps that I tell you to go through. I actually do those steps still, and I'm old. So I'm going to read it. The Coleman family had their bill at a restaurant reduced by $7.50 because of a special discount. Yay for them. They left a tip of $8.90, which was 20% of the reduced amount. How much was their bill before the discount? Yep, I still don't know what to do. I'm going to underline the question. Still don't know what to do. Circle the information. They had a bill that we don't know how much it is. That was reduced by $7.50 because they had a special discount. The tip they left was $8.90. That was 20% of the reduced bill. Okay. Still not all the way sure what to do, but I can see what information I have, so let's gotta make a picture of it. I have the bill for the dinner. I don't know how much it was. It never said. I know that they took $7.50 off of the bill, and I know that my tip was a 20% off of the amount after they took 20% off. So whatever this is, right? And that amount ended up being $8.90. That was the tip that was left. Okay, so definitely the bill was way more than $8.90. How much more? Well, let's see if we can create an equation. I had a bill and they took $7.50 off of it. And then I did 20% of that amount. So let's take that bill minus the $7.50. And they said 20% of that, let's call that 0.20, ended up being $8.90. Okay. Let me reason that out, make sure it makes sense. This is my bill minus $7.50. Whatever that amount is, 20%. So times 0.20 gave me the tip of $8.90. It was after the reduced amount. So that makes sense. Okay, so let's move forward. Now we're going to use we actually can use one of our tricks. Instead of using distributive property, we can at least change these decimals. It won't affect this one because it's protected in there, but we can at least change these ones by multiplying both of them times 100, or you could use calculator with your decimals, whatever. But I'm going to go ahead and move those. Times 100 will give me 20 times x minus 750 equals 890 now because I multiplied by 100. Now I'll use my distributive property, 20x, and 20 times negative 750 is going to be a negative 14, and then the 2 halves makes 15, so 150, and then that didn't do anything. Okay. Now here's my variable on one side all by itself, so that's okay. So now all I need to do is isolate my variable. I didn't need to move the other variable over. It was only on one side. Inverse operation there. That is a plus 150 to cancel. Plus 150. 14, 8, 9, 10. 1,040. I know their bill wasn't $1,040. Can you imagine? That's a lot of food. I still have to do this division over here. Isolate the variable it's being multiplied by 20, so I divide by 20, and that's going to be x equals 52. So their bill, remember x was representing what their bill was before the 750 was taken off. It was $52 before it was taken off there. So that is how we solve that one. It seems a lot, and don't worry if you read it the first time and it doesn't make sense and you circle everything, you're like, I'm still not sure. Draw the picture. I have to draw the picture. Use the tricks if you know how. If not, just do 0.20 times x. You'd get 0.20x, and then 0.20 times negative 7.50. Do it on calculator. You'll get decimals and things, but you will end up running down to the same answer. You'll still be good. So that is what this lesson entails. I think you have all the tools in place. It will feel challenging at first. Might be a good idea to have a study buddy on this one to work those through. You are going to make little negative and positive errors on this. Be careful, watch it carefully, but it happens. But I believe for the most part you're going to do extremely well. Good luck to you.